Hello, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining today. I know this is lunch hour, but I also know that everybody is super excited for these chat and learn sessions. So I appreciate everybody joining and coming here. This is another chat and learn session sponsored by Women in Big Data. Women in Big Data is a global community, and our mission is to cultivate and nurture data analytics challenge amongst people of all genders. We are right now, like I said, 20,000 plus member community. We are a global community with 50 plus chapters across 6 different continents. Our goal here is to make sure that we encourage people, give them the tools that are needed to thrive in this data analytics field. And again, this is for all genders, and everyone is welcome here. And through our speaker series here, which is Chat and Learn, our goal here is to make sure we get those insights, we get those learnings, the career stories that our guest speakers have gone through, and how can we learn from those? How can we take that opportunity to have that conversation with our guest speakers and then take something out of it and make it our own story, right? So it's our effort to pay it forward. And in this series today, I'm super thrilled to have Anastasia Egorova with us. She is currently a commercial analytics vice president at Nike. And I'm going to briefly talk here as we go through our decks. And this is going to be less about the slides, but more about the conversation with Anastasia. This is a very conversation style interview with her. And I do encourage all of you to use the Q&A to add any questions that you may have for Anastasia. And she's excited to be here, and she's excited to answer any questions that you may have. So I'm going to start with a brief introduction. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about her career journey. I want her to talk about her career journey. And then she will touch base briefly on data analytics trends. And like I said, open to Q&A. This is very conversational style. Feel free to add your questions in that using that Q&A tab on your webinar. So with that, I'll quickly introduce Anastasia. She has had a long and exciting career in this field of data analytics. Anastasia has been a data analytics profession for 20 plus years, and her experience span across retail, telecom, CPG, media, entertainment, and e-commerce. She has been an advocate of youth and women in data analytics. And currently, she is also a member of Women of Analytics at Nike LT. And as you can see, all these different brands that she has worked for, and again, really have that tremendous experience that she is here to share with us. Anastasia, I know you and I have met offline a couple times, so I know a little bit about you, but I think for our audience, it would be good to talk about your career journey, what motivates you, and basically what gets you up every morning to do what you do. So if it is okay, I would like to start there.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited and honored. I followed the Women in Big Data organization for many years, and the mission is very close to my heart. Not only because I'm a woman in data and analytics, but also because I think data is so exciting and it's part of our everyday life. And especially with the recent breakthroughs, it's going to be more and more impactful. So I would, if we can jump to the previous slide real quick, I'll talk a little bit about my career journey and then share a little bit about myself so you have an idea of what makes me going every morning. As you mentioned, Pradnya, I've been fortunate to be a part of very impactful companies and also having a broad exposure to different industries. And what I found that was interesting, the common thread, that the challenges of data analytics are very similar no matter what industry you're going to. And also early in my career, I got the opportunity to see firsthand what tremendous impact insights, analytics, data can make on outcomes, on businesses, on people's lives. And that is what is really at the core of my passion for this field that I developed over time. I did not know this is what I want to do. In fact, my background is not traditional and my career path not that linear, but I've always known that this is something that excites me, that ability to find insight and find something that empowers, enables, enlightens people, and sharing it with others. That's always been the driving force for my career evolution.
Thank you. Thank you. And that is an inspiration in itself, right? Kind of going through those ups and downs and going through the career journey a little bit. I'm taking a step forward. I
Uh,
just want to, I want you to speak a little bit about what this by numbers is. And we
yeah,
talked a little bit about this, but
yeah.
I think it's really exciting to kind
Uh,
of share with our audience across different countries, right? What do these numbers mean? Let's start
yeah,
there.
and it's just my way of telling my story slightly differently because we are in the field of analytics and the power of storytelling is incredible. And I think, especially if we come from technology background or even not from technology background, we get so excited about what we do in technical aspects of our job. So it's easy to forget that we are delivered powerful analytics is on the impact that it delivers. And in order to deliver that impact and value, you have to communicate to people in the way they can easily understand. And telling a story with the numbers. That's why I put my kind of career path impact of that. And although I worked for very interesting, impactful companies, it's not the companies itself or the job or revenue, the bottom line although it's very important, it's the combined impact and being a part of it. I feel I'm very lucky and fortunate, and I don't take it for granted. And as I follow Brené Brown, I don't know if you're familiar with her. She has now her special on Netflix. She wrote a number of books about leadership and vulnerability. And I love that quote from her stories at the Data with the Soul. And that's, I think, at the core of how I feel about data and analytics. So, looking at the impact the companies that I was a part of generated, 300 million customers served. That was just imagine that was the US population last year. It's in close to that. That's incredible. And the number of employees, it's equal to Bergen, number three best small city to live in if you're interested in Norway. And these are the amazing, talented co-workers, colleagues, peers, mentors that I got a chance to work with and be a part of creating such a tremendous impact.
Yeah, yeah. I love the way you are actually tying the work that you did within the companies within that are within those countries and kind of tie it back to the impact on the overall economy itself. This is the first time seeing this, and I think this is impressive because at the end of the day, we all are trying to make that mark not just for the company, but making things easier, making lives easier for our consumers as well. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And for our audience, those who don't know Brene Brown, like Anastasia said, there is a documentary on Netflix, I believe, or her TED Talk is on Netflix. Please go ahead and check it out when you get a chance. She's definitely a motivational speaker. She is a corporate consultant and a lot of insights that you can take from Brene Brown as well. So thank you for sharing that little tip with us as well. I'm really, when I saw this particular slide about you, it got me thinking because I love the way how you have put things in perspective and also tied it back to your values, to your personal values. And that is something that is really important to me. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your values and how it ties to the work that you do today.
Absolutely. I think uh, why it's important to me because everybody has a story, everybody has a journey. I came to this country on my own. Um, from a different country for the first time, being on my own in general in my life, living on my own, away from my family, friends, but also living in a foreign country and trying to establish myself. And I'm proud of this accomplishment. And I think it's more commonplace now, but in the past it wasn't that easy, especially from my country background, that where I'm coming from, and building career in data and analytics, which I'm surprised sometimes looking back on the journey that this is where I'm at, because I could never imagine this is where I will end up when I started. And there were a lot of ups and downs, like you said, and we all go through that. But what keeps you going and what motivates you is your strength, inner strength, and your core values. And I think one of my core values is integrity. And I think it's so critical to be successful leader. For a leader to inspire, motivate people, encourage them, providing that vision and guidance, you have to keep integrity, professional and personal integrity. And also being a woman and having family, having children, and going through the tough times when children are small and you're trying to balance work and work pressures and challenges of being a new parent. Um, all of that taught me that you don't have to sacrifice. And if, especially for women, but not only for women, because I see a lot of young men, parents struggling with that regardless of gender. You don't have to sacrifice. It's possible. You can do it all. You need to know what you want. You need to love what you do, and you need to go after that. And I think that's why I emphasize my values and my passions, because I genuinely enjoy what I do every single day. And um, the field of data analytics, especially when I was studying, was not easy to break in and to be successful. It took a lot of perseverance and doing a lot of things that are not glamorous and are not fun, tedious tasks and jobs. And you really have to love it and have passion for that. Otherwise, it becomes very challenging, and you cannot keep that kind of personal integrity that you want to achieve by doing what you like in your job and outside of your job.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm actually going to come back to your comment about family. But as I look at this slide, and one thing that really fascinates me is you're calling out that the world is one big data problem.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that, and what do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's actually, I wish I could claim that quote, but it's actually Dr. Andrew McAfee with the MIT Initiative for Digital Economy. I read it somewhere, actually, it was at South by Southwest, and I heard that and it just stuck with me because that's how I see the world. It is to me a big data problem, and everything that we deal with, we can solve not everything in life, but a lot of challenges can be solved with data, but only in combination with human component of that. And I think it's important to remember that now where we have such a rise of AI with generative AI breakthroughs, it's not only technology or data, but it's the human aspect of that. And why I think it's a data problem, because yeah, universe is driven by math. Math is the language of the universe. So solving complex problems is very interesting to me and exciting and motivating and inspiring, but also data allows you to find the solutions to challenging problems. I work currently in a company like Nike, which is very it's the top footwear brand, athletic footwear brand in the world. It has impact beyond just selling shoes through its history. But it's not only about what company does, what company delivers, and the business that we're in, but it's also about the problems that can be inspired to be solved. So as an example, and I think, and why I'm bringing it up, because no matter what job you do, sometimes you feel my job is not that important or that exciting. We're not, at least I'm not solving world hunger in my current job. But you could be contributing to that, or you could be inspiring something. So as an example, sustainability and climate is something I feel strongly about and supporting that. And being part of a company like Nike allows me to share with that values of mine because Nike is a sustainability responsible and a leader in that field. And every company, every business makes an impact. Can you find in your job an opportunity to make an impact like that? And I think you can. And so that's on a macro level, but on a more day-to-day level, it's even if you can solve someone's small problem and you see a smile on the face and it's like, I didn't think of it. This is a great solution. Thank you. It makes my life so much easier. It makes my job so much easier. That's huge. So always trying to find meaning in what you do. And there are plenty of opportunities for that.
Absolutely. And speaking of world problems and things that are going on in the world right now, we see this big surge in AI and the awareness around analytics. Analytics was always there. We have been generating data for a long time now, but it has exponentially grown across the globe. Can you talk a little bit about these data analytics trends of 2024 and what do you see right now and what do you see the areas of growth over the next couple of years?
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely an area that I'm very excited about, being in this field. It's not new. We've heard, I mean, we've seen progression of AI over number of years now. But I feel like the advancements that we're seeing now are really transformational. And they will be transformational for years to come and will impact every aspect of our life. So some of the trends that I want to highlight, of course, the ones that I listed here, it's just a few select. There are a lot more other events and developments that are happening. But the ones that I want to highlight are around power of innovation and how generative AI really unlocks it. And it really lowers the entry barrier, as I talked earlier, how it was quite difficult to break into the field. And now I think with the tools and resources and education opportunities, it's much easier to get the skills to use the tools to unleash innovation that is technology powered and that is generative AI or just AI powered innovation. And that is really exciting. So that's definitely an area to watch for. And also as we think about skills that we need to develop, this is also an area I would really focus on, no matter where you are in your career. Automation and productivity boost, that's also exciting. Of course, it creates concerns that AI will take over our jobs. Probably not so soon. Yes, some jobs will be automated and replaced. But I think it's more exciting, and I'm in that camp of optimistic camp of machines and humans working together because I view especially Gen AI powered tools that are popping up, it seems, every day now as assistant, very intelligent, very capable, very knowledgeable assistant that's available 24/7. Your co-pilot, your co-programmer, your co-developer, your analyst, junior analyst. And I think that's exciting because it can really provide productivity boost and again allow us to focus on high value work or more innovative work. And with that, that leads me to thinking, and that's something that I spent quite a bit of time thinking about as a leader of a team. What are the emerging roles and skills? How do we need to upskill ourselves to prepare ourselves and to be productive and driving that wave of innovation? Some of the new roles that are coming up, AI product manager, prompt engineering, natural language UI and BI that is driven by natural language with the user interface being text, natural language, and increased focus on the user experience and business context. And underlying all of that evolution, all of that innovation is data quality, data integrity, data security, and the ethical use of AI. Because those of us who've been in this field for a long time, um, data governance and ethics in the use of data have always been an important consideration, but with AI, it becomes an imperative. It's something that companies need to take seriously if they haven't already. And that creates a very different approach to how you architect from your technology integrations, from your enterprise architecture, data architecture, but also application of AI. You have to rethink all of that. And last but not least, that also something I want to highlight is the role of women in data analytics and in general diversity or equity in analytics and data. The technology innovation increased accessibility, as I mentioned before, to insights, to resources, and there are a lot more women. I can see it even in the students in the classes, composition of data science, analytics. I go to universities like USC every year as a guest speaker, joining data science analytics classes, and I see how many more women are in those classes now than, let's say, even 10 years ago and 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely exciting. And technology allows to lower entry barrier, but we still see challenges with the representation. So that's something that I want to mention because I think new technology and these are the trends that we'll continue to see, that we will see more progress in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it right, because as women in big data, we do have people from different, who are working at different levels within the data field, right? So we do interact with students quite a bit, and then we have all the way to senior people. I'm talking to you today, and we hear similar themes. So our goal here at Women in Big Data is to make sure that we surface some of the concerns that people have, but also provide them with opportunities wherever we can and connect them to the right people, network, and so on and so forth, to help exactly to bridge that gap between opportunities and our people who are interested in thriving in this area for sure. So I appreciate you calling that out as well. I do see some questions coming already, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the share, and then we can just have an open dialogue now. But as I'm kind of looking through different questions, I do want to poke a little bit on the ethics. And the reason for that is with ChatGPT, I mean, there has been so much conversation about people using AI. My own daughter is in high school, and sometimes it's like, well, are you using like ChatGPT to do stuff? Like, how are your teachers monitoring that, and so on and so forth? And that's true everywhere, not just in schools. So if you don't mind, I would like you to talk a little bit about how you see the value of AI being broadly used, right? People of any community and any age group are using that. but still kind of keep it ethical and legal. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to preface my answer by saying that although 2023 was a breakthrough year for generative AI, and it definitely captured a lot of attention and imagination across the board, we are yet to see the realization of value of AI. And I was reading a recent survey, I think it was conducted by MIT Sloan School of Business, and also quoting or in conjunction with AWS study. So they're saying only, according to AWS study, only 6% of companies have any sort of AI in production right now, and even less at scale, in production at scale, actively generating value. So I think we're still in that experimentation stage for the most part. But I can see what kind of value it can generate, broadly economic value once it's at production at scale. But also for everyday life, at a personal level, we can see, and I'll speak specifically to data and analytics. There are a number of tools and products like Microsoft, other companies coming up with co-pilots like Salesforce, etc. And co-pilots, we are starting to experiment with the GitHub co-pilot. A lot of companies are looking into that because this is the fastest and I think the lowest hanging fruit where you can reap benefits of generative AI right now, by automating programming tasks or doing initial data analysis, reviewing a code. So it's almost like a peer programming, right? But is it ideal? Can it write a code? Is it ideal? No, you still need that expertise. But I think it's a huge productivity boost for data analysts, data engineers, programmers, software developers. And even for business data savvy people who are interested in being more self-sufficient, they can also use those tools to create like AutoML, automated machine learning and things like that. And the beauty of generative AI and why I think it's so impactful is because it uses natural language for interactions for a lot of that. So that is a completely different UI that we're used to. So if in the past you needed to know SQL, Python, you needed to have very technical skills to adopt that, now it's no longer the case. And that's a huge benefit. So that hopefully it answered your question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And actually, I'm keeping an eye out on questions coming along. And of a similar theme, there is another question because the environment is so dynamically changing and we have new technologies emerging and new information coming all the time. What is the importance of investing in your career? And the question is around you learn something and something new is coming. So you have to continuously keep upskilling yourself. So how do you kind of balance that, right? And how do you still kind of focus on your career growth in this changing environment?
Uh, Thank you for this question. Now, when I look back at my career journey, um, I can say that I've been very strategic in what I want or don't want to do in my career and where I see myself. I may not, maybe not at all times I knew exactly how I would get to a certain point, but I knew very early on what I want to do. And and I think it's important. So realizing early on what you want to do. And I'm a big fan of methodology. I use it in analytics, but it applies, I think, to life, to business in general, working backwards from a problem. So it's very important to define your destination and what problem you need to solve if we apply to analytics within a career path. What do you want? How do you envision yourself in the future? And working backwards. And because you haven't gone through that journey, it's hard to know in advance what will be required. So staying open and curious and putting yourself out there for opportunities. So I've always volunteered for things. And my advice, especially for people who are starting early in their career, don't let the lack of knowledge or experience stop you from raising your hand and volunteering for things. Even if you don't know how to do it, but you have a strong desire and this is something that you want to learn about, just pick it up. You'll figure it out, you'll learn. A lot of the skills, even technical skills, I learned most of that I learned on the job. And it wasn't so much that, as I said, my career path and also background is not very traditional in this field. I don't come from computer science or engineering background. I actually studied in linguistics, and I'm still very fond of that. I really like that field. Linguistics is the science and study of the language, human language. And timing, I think, was great because when I was in the university studying linguistics, it's when the breakthroughs in natural NLP, natural language processing, started gaining mainstream. And we had the first in my university NLP lab. And it wasn't something that I needed to do as part of my degree, but I learned about it and it's like, I'm super interested. Let me try out. Like, I've always been good with math and statistics, and let me try out. So I tried that out. And that's how it led me to that fascination. It's like, oh, you combine understanding of the language, which is linguistics, with generation of the language, which is programming. And this is what NLP is. And now it's at the core of generative AI, right? So I think your path may be very non-linear, but as long as you try different things, you stay curious, you constantly learn new skills, and you don't get that kind of hesitance or feeling that I don't know how to do something stop you from pursuing your goals. So, and then volunteering for challenging opportunities. Most of my career breakthroughs were volunteering for things that other people didn't want to do because they were either too complex or too messy or just diversion from what you're doing now. And I found it exciting and challenging and interesting. And that turned out and proved to be the biggest breakthroughs in my career. It opened up opportunities that I haven't thought of or dreamed of.
That is so fascinating, actually. Just moving from linguistic into analytics, into language processing. It's just an amazing journey, and I think for many people, and when we talk to women and men through big data, women in big data community, one of their questions always is like, how do I start in this field? But I think from your conversation with you, I think one of the big learnings for all of us who want to start something new or who want to do different things or upskill themselves, it's never too late. You just pick it up and you start, and that's really fascinating.
It's never, I don't see age as a barrier, especially in this field. I would say even it was more challenging when I was younger than it is now, because you have to prove yourself a lot more when you're younger. You don't carry the same credibility. You don't have past accomplishments you can talk about or lean on. But it doesn't matter when. If you feel you want to pursue something, just do it. That's why I love Nike's slogan, just do it. It's only up to you, and that's the only thing that's holding you back, how much you want it, and how much you're willing to dedicate time and effort to. So, and now the learning of skills is much more easier. and much more accessible. So I would strongly encourage, I took recently prompt engineering, nano class for nano degree, really enjoyed it. It's constantly, there is something to learn in our field and don't stop. And the way I viewed it throughout my career, it wasn't that, like I said, I was purposeful. I need to learn Python, or I need to learn SAS, or I need to, it was more because that's what's required from this career path. It was more, I have a problem. How can I solve it? What do I need? What tools do I need? Oh, I'm missing a skill. How can I gain that skill to solve that problem?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really fascinating, and I like what you said about signing up for those big, challenging problems. I heard one of our executives tell me, this was a couple years ago, something similar, like sign yourself up for the big uglies, is what she said,
Yeah.
which is exactly I think what you're trying to say as well, because again, that's what shows your credibility, and how motivated you are in solving those big problems. I would like to change gears a little bit because there is a question around yeah, the entrepreneur journey. Are there any key takeaways from that, and how would you tie that back to the role that you are in, or how did that translate into the corporate role that you are in?
Absolutely. And that's a fascinating part of my journey to me because I've always wanted um, to start my own company. I wanted to be part of entrepreneurship um, world. Early on, I worked with companies. Part of my career, probably half of my career, is in consulting. I was part of an agency and a firm that focused on um, analytics, predictive econometrics, predictive modeling, econometrics services for companies when it was just starting. Many companies did not have that internal capability. So I got to experience different parts of the business, different parts of different industries, etc. And I think many of customers that I worked with in the beginning were startups, and it was very fascinating to me, the pace, the dynamics, and just the thrill of owning it all, owning your mistakes, owning your every decision you make, you own it, and owning successes as well. And you are fully contributing to that in every capacity and ability to play multiple roles. So I that was early in my career exposure to that world of entrepreneurship. And of course, it went through, I'm gonna age myself, in the early 2000s, where it was a dot-com bust and a lot of companies went down. It was quite a dramatic time for many of us in that area of work. But it didn't discourage me from at some point doing it myself. So when I had an opportunity, it was more of a it was one of the pivotal moments, I think, of my career where I had a chance to decide where I can go next and maybe take the time a little bit to think about it. And I didn't rush into my next job. I took my time and I thought about what I really want to do. And I was talking, and I want to bring up as part of that importance of network, building and maintaining network.
Absolutely.
And it's not only professional network, but building long-lasting relationships. And I have strong network of women in my profession, in the field, and mentors, and cultivating it over the years, because this is what also gives me a big boost. And then one of my lunches, I think, with one of my former colleagues, or actually one of my former with a boss. I used to report to this woman in the past. We were chatting, and she said, "What are you gonna do next?" And she's been my mentor. And I said, "Well, I want to start my own company." And she said, "Let's talk more about it." And that's how it started. And I knew that I want to do something in the data field. And just solving problems for others. And that's how we started our company, and it's been quite successful for many years. I did step back to it for Nike opportunity, because this kind of opportunities don't come around every day. So it's definitely, I wanted to be part of a Nike journey. But I really enjoyed it. It's very thrilling. And if you're thinking about it, again, just do it, because it's gonna eat at you and it's gonna be bothering you, and you rather try it and maybe fail. It's hard. I won't sugarcoat it. Extremely hard, and it's a boot camp and rejection. How to deal with rejection, and how to deal with uncertainty. But you come out so much stronger. You learn so much, and you feel so empowered. Whether you succeed or not, if you want to do it, do it, and don't delay. My biggest regret, if I can share like some of the learnings,
Absolutely. Yeah.
my biggest regret through my career journey is when I waited too long to take the next step. I knew I wanted to do it and I hesitated. So that my encouragement to everybody, no matter where you are in your career, if you're thinking of something you want to do, don't wait. It's easy to become complacent. I'm guilty of it myself. If you're in a good job, or if you're in a good situation and it feels comfortable, if you feel like it's not what you ultimately want to do not hesitate and do not wait. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love it. And there is so much to unpack in that response, to be honest, because I love what you said about networking. Whenever I talk to people, it's one or two conversations, and then things kind of fall off, right? And one thing I've realized is network is a longer lasting, it's built over years, not just over a couple conversations.
Okay.
And it's more of an intent of, it's not a give and take relationship. It just kind of evolves to become something. And yeah, absolutely, there may be something out for both parties. But again, it's like you said, that conversation really helped you kickstart your own company, which is great. And I do want to call out to our audience, whether it's your starting your business or whether it's taking the next step in the job, I think the message here is absolutely clear to just do it, right? Just go ahead and do it. Don't worry about, success or failure. That will keep coming. So I really love that.
Yeah, and I just want to share, there were points in that entrepreneurial journey where I felt, oh my God, what am I doing? I have small children.
Yeah,
We're running
yeah,
out of savings. What's going to happen? It is a tough journey, but you have to figure out what's right for you, what's right for your family. And like I said before, you don't need to compromise. I think we as women think that we need to uh, support others, support our family, support our children, probably more statistically speaking. I think still women carry more of a responsibility as a caretaker and caregiver than men, although this newer generation is changing. But I've been reading women in workforce report from McKinsey in partnership with Lean In organization, and they're saying that women now do not want to sacrifice, and they don't want to sacrifice any part of their life. They're as ambitious, probably most ambitious than ever been through the time that they've studied that. And women are very passionate about their careers, but they also recognizing and taking active steps to have a balanced life, to take care of their personal life. So I think it's very encouraging, and it's not only a message for women, it's for anybody. How to break into, and one more thing on entrepreneurship, I saw a question on how to break into this field from other areas, if I
yeah.
can answer that.
Mhm.
But a little bit more into entrepreneurship. I feel like I've been playing entrepreneurship role in companies where I've
Right.
been
Yeah.
without even recognizing it. So I think I've always had that desire,
Yeah.
and it's possible. So let's say you don't want to start your own company, it's not for you. But I think there are a lot of opportunities within the company to play that role, entrepreneurship. And it can be something like I mentioned before. One of the examples I can bring up, when we implemented Hadoop in one of my previous companies. You remember big data, big data days,
Yep.
Hadoop, and it was experimental in nature and kind of a mess, and nobody knew exactly. It was big buzzword, big data. Nobody knew exactly what to do. I persistently went to my leadership and I said, I don't have background in it, but I want to learn. But I know what we can do with it. I know what kind of business use cases we can solve. Please give me this opportunity. So yeah, I was given an opportunity with some sort of lab that turned into a data science lab that turned into bigger things, right? And that's just again, and it was very entrepreneurship because I had to build a use case, and I approached it like starting a business. I came up with a lean canvas. I mean, now in retrospect, this is what I did. It's not that I knew that it's called entrepreneurship at the time, but I put together a proposal saying this is how we can turn it into self-funding model. This is how we can generate incremental revenue for the business, and this is the investment it will take, and it will self-fund and promote that. So there are opportunities even within corporate world for that. But regardless whether you're interested in that kind of pursuit or not, just the idea of learning and gaining new skills,
Yeah.
it's only better for you, and the impact that you're going to make is much more greater. So there was a question I wanted to answer, if it's okay. I saw it on
Yeah,
about
yeah, and I
breaking.
just want to call
Yeah,
out what you said
sure.
about entrepreneurship is true for people who are in their jobs as well. I mean, I just want to encourage our audience to take the same insights and also apply to your job if you have a problem that you want to solve and you want to pitch it to your leadership. I mean, feel free to go do that. That's another opportunity to get that visibility as well. But yeah, like you said, we're getting questions in the chat, and I want to move a little bit towards the people who are starting off in this career,
Mhm.
right? We do work with our local universities, and our other chapters work with universities across the
Mhm.
globe. So I would like you to talk a little bit about, for somebody who is fresh out of college or somebody who wants to start their career in this space, whether it's through entrepreneurship or a job, how would they go about it? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I think for people, my son is in college now, freshman, so I definitely can relate to that. There is a lot of, first of all, there are tons of opportunities,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's not that easy coming out of college with no background, no experience. Companies are in need of data analytics talent, but most of the companies want somebody with some sort of experience. So what my recommendation would be, maybe even while you're in college, or maybe you're fresh out, seek those opportunities such as internships. Internships are a great way of gaining the skills and experience, but also figure out what you want, because there are so many roles and it's hard to know where you would be successful. But looking for jobs like summer jobs or internship opportunities is a great way to break in and start building your kind of experience and portfolio, and share your work. If you've done something, you have a project that you're very passionate about, share it. Let's say you're passionate about Tableau visualization. Tableau has almost all companies made some portion of their tool set publicly available.
Yes.
Like Tableau is an example, has a huge community. It has Tableau Public, where people share what they built from data visualization perspective. So publish it, publish your work on GitHub, start creating a portfolio. And another area that I'm passionate about, and I think it's also a good idea for people just starting their career, volunteer with organizations that allow you to practice the skills that maybe you're not going to be able to practice as an entry level job. because nonprofit organizations need those skills and they have shortage. For example, there is a great nonprofit I follow, Data Kind. So they look for people with data skills for
Absolutely. Yeah.
projects that can be solving diversity of problems. And that gives you an opportunity to do something that maybe at an entry level in a company you wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And there is always YouTube as a fallback option too.
Absolutely. Yes.
Tutorials.
Yeah.
There is a really interesting question, and I think this might be our last one that we will take here. But there, it was a huge risk, right? Starting your own company at the stage that you were in, and now kind of taking on this role at Nike, and kind of putting either a pause on it or either walking a little bit away from that to take on this role. Can you talk a little bit about how did that pay off, both personally and professionally? What has been your experience?
Mhm. Yes, it was a risk starting my own company because I've been in either consulting or corporate world for the most of my career, and having that stability is good. But of course, starting your own company is a huge risk. But at the same time, you develop over time self-belief, confidence in your abilities, that no matter what, and that is because going through many ups and downs in life, you develop that confidence that no matter what happens, you will be able to bounce back. And also having ability and desire to learn, pick up new skills, that also gives you that kind of assurance that, okay, if I fail in this is what I can do, and this is how I can bounce back. It is a risk, but it was so worth it. I can't emphasize enough how much I learned from that. Just running, I actually was playing a role of many roles, but role of chief operating officer at some point. So running operations, setting up website, developing marketing campaign, finances of that, from sales pitches to following up. Like it just gives you such a tremendous experience if you're interested in those areas. But going back to that question, the risks, joining Nike wasn't a big risk. It was actually a tremendous opportunity. I mean, you cannot go wrong with a company like Nike. The mission, the values aligned very well with mine. What you talked about payoffs, what really fascinated me in this role, and that's the experience that I didn't have, particularly, well, I wouldn't say I didn't, but not in the same aspect. But the scale of Nike in a consumer-focused brand. So I've worked for other companies that are consumer brand, but not at the scale of Nike. So some of the companies like AT&T, of course, it's a very large global company, but it's not a physical product that people have a emotional connection to. So that was something I feel passionate about, that consumer connection. And for me, that was one of the goals that I wanted to add to my portfolio, understanding how to do what I know how to do at massive scale of a company like Nike.
Absolutely. No, that's great. And I think the bottom line message is, it has only been extremely valuable, that experience that you had as an entrepreneur, tying back to this role for sure.
Well, it's what you bring in the resilience, the ability to bounce back, fail fast, and urgency, sense of urgency. Being in a startup world teaches you sense of urgency and extreme ownership.
Yes,
And I
absolutely.
think any company, any corporate environment will always welcome that.
Yeah, Absolutely. No, I love that. I just want to take a few minutes to thank a lot of people behind the scenes here to make this series possible. We have our team from the Northwest chapter of Women in Big Data. I'm your host, Pradnya Patil. I'm the director in Sales and Marketing Group at Intel and a co-director, Women in Big Data Northwest chapter. My partner in crime is Surekha Reddy, who is also the director of Northwest chapter, Women in Big Data. And we have a huge team behind this, and I can't name everybody, but I have a huge team of Women in Big Data behind to make this happen. And we also have Lily and Anastasia's team behind this as well to make this happen. So I want to thank everyone. And I also want to thank our guest speaker, Anastasia, for taking this time from your busy schedule to talk to us. I'm absolutely certain that everybody had some good insights and encouragement coming out of this. I know we couldn't get to all the questions, but this was such an exciting conversation. I didn't realize when we were up on the hour. So I just want
Thank
to
you
thank
so
you
much,
very much.
Pradnya. It's been a pleasure and such an honor. And there's so much I want to share. And just my last words of encouragement for anybody who wants to be in this field. It's possible, it's doable. If now is the time where if you're thinking of breaking into this career, now is the time. It's becoming much more. Uh, and we need a lot of talent and from different backgrounds.
Absolutely. On that note of just do it, I think that's a
Let's do
good
it.
place to
Thank
stop.
you.
Thank you so much, Anastasia, and thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you for
Until
having
next
me.
time,
Appreciate it.
bye.
Bye. Take care.